Yo, you guys know I love Gary Vee just as much as the next person, but I have to disagree with him on this one, and we're gonna go into why. Stick around.
Selling on Amazon has absolutely changed our lives. You want to know something? We're going to help you guys get there too.
All these people are talking about wanting to sell you a lifestyle. We're here to sell you a life.
Yo, so what's up, guys? It's a Dropshipping Terminator. Me and my partner, the Dan of Steel, we talk all about that e-commerce life, baby, that Amazon FBA, private label dropshipping, which is what we love. We're huge proponents of. We do wholesaling, a little eBay here and there, not so much, you know, Shopify, all that good jazz. Sounds good to you? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, stick around for a little bit, get into the free Facebook group below because we hit you up with all of that e-commerce knowledge in there for the freezy. For all you regulars, man, you know what time it is. It's time to go ahead and get right into it. So, Gary Vee, you guys know I absolutely love Gary Vee. You know, he's awesome, he's a great dude, he's real motivational, he's on the cusp of everything, right? But sometimes he says some off the wall stuff that I can't get behind. Like I just cannot support what he's saying in some things. And you know, I love the hustle. You know, I was all about flipping stuff on Craigslist, going to garage sales, all that stuff. That is good. But he did a live a few days ago, and it really got me thinking. I can't get behind this whole drop out of high school thing. Okay, so a young man called in. I do believe he was like 16, 17. You know, got the entrepreneur spirit. You know, he's running a Shopify store selling cell phone cases and stuff. He doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. Okay, so let's preface this. He doesn't know jack squat about real life just yet. And for the most part, you know, most young cats don't. They just see like Hayden Bowles and all these other young dudes making money, but don't realize that they got, you know, pretty wealthy parents. But that's neither here nor there. So Gary's speaking to this young man, this gentleman, and he tells him go ahead and drop out of high school. He's like, hey, if you're prepared to, you know, eat you know what for the next 12, 13 years and live with roommates and stuff until you make it happen, go right ahead. Drop out of school.
I'm in high school right now, and I'm like just a hair away from dropping out, and I really don't know what to do.
Okay, well, give me some more context. How old are you?
17.
Are you in your junior year?
Yes.
Will your parents punch you in the face?
Probably.
And you want to drop out because?
I mean, I really just want to pursue like my business aspirations, but I don't know. My dad's getting on my case about it. I don't know.
I hear you. Here's what I would say: do fake dropping out. Get D's and F's.
And I just thought that was the dumbest thing I had ever heard. Like, no offense to you, Gary Vee. Like, if you ever see this video, no shade. Like, you're awesome. I love you, but bro, that was the worst advice you could have ever given anyone when it comes to school, because you don't necessarily know this man's living situation or, you know, his family background. You know, Gary Vee did not grow up broke, guys. Okay, he had to work. I'm not saying he didn't have to work, but having a family wine business is not the same as growing up having to steal electricity from your neighbors, or not having running water, or having to go to churches to get, you know, handouts and all that stuff. Like, those are things that we had to do. Gary never had to experience that, and his kids don't have to experience that. But he's telling this young man to drop out of school, and that's just not cool. So I want you guys to follow along. I put together a little slideshow. The man behind the camera, Chris B back there, is going to help you guys out. Now, I don't know if this is going to work, so this is kind of a test run. You're going to have to help me out here. I don't know if you guys are going to enjoy it. You know, Gary Vee is wrong about dropping out of high school, okay? He's completely wrong on this. Now, why is Gary Vee wrong on this, okay? Why is he wrong telling this kid to drop out of school or just pretend that, you know, he's going through the motions, daydream about your goals and all this other stuff? You know, kid, just daydream about your Shopify store and being an entrepreneur. Get D's and F's. He literally told this kid to get D's and F's. Like, what? Like, no, okay? And this is why. Like, this is why it's wrong, okay? You know, you're teaching this kid bad habits. You know, bad grades do not make for a better start in life, okay? So this kid may not know what in the world he wants to do. He's making money right now. If I was making money at 17 years old off a Shopify store, you know, I wouldn't want to go to school. I wouldn't want to go to college either, because I'd be thinking I'm going to get rich off a Shopify store when that is really not the effing case. But in my little mind, I'd be like, yo, I know everything about the world. I'm making money. I'm good, baby. I'm good. So having someone tell me to make D's and F's and care about everything else, like, of course that's what I'm gonna do. But that's teaching bad habits. Like, as an entrepreneur, you have to be motivated. You have to have ingrained good habits, you know, good time management, good focus, good self-starting ability, whatever you want to call it, you know, stick-to-itiveness. If you don't have that, you are not going to be a great entrepreneur. And Gary's already telling this kid, hey, do all these bad things, all these negative things that could seriously mess him up in his entrepreneur journey. Like, really? Come on, Gary Vee, you better than that. You know, just thinking about it and daydreaming about these potential possibilities, these, you know, entrepreneur endeavors is not going to get you rich. It's not going to get you anything but a bunch of just headache. You know, you're like, oh, I'm thinking of this. There's tons of things I think of, but guess what? That doesn't help you guys make money. If I sit there all day and daydream about making money instead of going out there and working on these Amazon businesses, we ain't making squat. Okay. That's just what it is. You know, without putting things into practice, you are not going to make any money. And he's just telling this kid to basically just daydream until his graduation time and he's good to go. Like, no, that's just, no, that's not the way it is, you know? And he's like, oh, your parents, you know, they have jobs and careers and all this, and they don't know what they're talking about. Guys, parents know a whole lot more than you actually realize. And as you get older, you're going to understand that. You know, when I was 17 years old, you know, I thought I knew everything. I thought my parents were straight up squares. I'm like, yo, man, y'all straight up squares. Y'all some busters. Like, y'all don't know anything about anything. Y'all don't know what I'm going through. Wrong. My parents knew everything I was going through. They had been there before. Okay. Now, granted, the times were a little different, but the situations didn't necessarily change so much they couldn't relate to me. You know, he's telling this kid like, oh, your parents don't know what you're going through. No, your parents do know, because they had dreams, they had aspirations. But guess what? They got put on hold when they decided to squirt you out. You know, and sometimes dreams die, real life kicks in, and they have to do the best that they can to take care of you guys. And same with my kids. You know, there's things that I had to give up and sacrifice to take care of my kids because I was not careful. You know, I did the naughty things. I did the no-nos. You guys don't want to do the no-nos because then you have to sacrifice. And you don't necessarily want to sacrifice so young like I had to. All right. You know, and investing all your time into like a Shopify store. Like this dude, he seriously thinks he's going to get wealthy off a Shopify store. And I'm going to tell you how false that is, because we're not Kylie Jenner. We're not, you know, one of the Paul brothers. You're typically not going to get super, super wealthy off of a Shopify store. Now, in some cases, you will get lucky. But as it stands right now, he's talking about, this kid was saying he was making just a little bit of money, a few $100s, you know, a month with this Shopify store, which is much more than 99% of the people that have actually built a Shopify store. But guys, like, come the F on. You are more than likely not going to get rich with a Shopify store. And telling this kid to daydream about expanding that, like, what? You know, if this kid goes and does this, he's setting himself up for failure because he's not implementing anything. He's not building any good habits. He's literally dropping off. He's throwing the good habits he has away, developing bad habits, and then in turn thinking that entrepreneurship is just going to be smooth sailing and all cotton candy thoughts. That's wrong, man. That is so wrong. No, like, guys, you know, I try to keep it real with you. And Gary Vee tries to keep it real too. But I think my man's forgot where he came from. You know, he didn't have to get it from the mud. He already had a platform to kind of step up and rise up. You know, a lot of you guys, just like me and Dan, you got to dig that out the mud. Okay. You guys are coming from families that were on food stamps, welfare, daycare assistance, housing assistance, all that stuff. Gary Vee didn't have to experience that. What if this kid's parents are barely making ends meet? What if his parents are on food stamps? You know, they scraping by paycheck to paycheck. And this kid's sitting there daydreaming about a Shopify store. Like, he's setting himself up for failure. Gary Vee, that was some advice that you probably shouldn't have gave. I'm just keeping it real. Like, you know, let's go to that slide. Why is this bad? Why are these habits bad? You know, low grades are going to destroy this kid's opportunity. Okay, we all know that, you know, college isn't for everyone, trade school isn't for everyone, whatever. But it's been proven that if you don't even have a high school diploma, your chances of getting a job that pays anything more than like minimum wage is almost non-existent. Now, granted, in some cases, people do get very good with their hands or they develop a skill and it pays them very well. Okay. Not saying that it won't, not saying that it doesn't, just your chances of being successful decrease exponentially. Okay. Hands down. Nowadays, companies are looking for people with bachelor's degrees to fill low-level positions that can be filled by someone with a high school diploma. If you don't even have a high school diploma, you can't even do battle with the guys who are trying to get in. Like, that just makes absolutely no sense. Like, what if this kid wants to go to college? Like, what if, you know, what if he has an opportunity to go to a decent school? Like right now, let's say he's getting good grades and then he just tanks, gets nothing but D's and F's as Gary Vee suggested that he get. You know, his Shopify store may tank. All right. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening like MailChimp split from Shopify. There may be other autoresponders that split from Shopify. There's a lot of things that could potentially happen. And with bad grades, he's not going to be able to get into a good university, to get into a good engineering program or any type of STEM program, really. You know, if that's what he wants to do. You guys need to understand, you have to give yourselves the best opportunity for success. OK, you have to. No matter what, you should always set yourself up for success in all these different areas. We're college educated. OK, so we're going to be biased on this. You can take what we say with a grain of salt, but we are living proof that a college education will pay and pay you very well if you pick the right thing. It's very rare that people are going to make six figures without a college education or some type of training through like a tech school or a trade school, something along those lines. It's possible, but the odds are already stacked against you. If you're telling this kid to get D's and F's, I mean, he's not going to USC unless his family has a whole lot of money to buy him into it and put him on the crew team, and he's never crewed before. I mean, you guys know how that's going right now. Look at Dr. Dre. He gave $70 million. His daughter got into USC. This guy got a Shopify store. I doubt his parents have $70 million. Just going to throw that out there. You know, so there's that. He's basically setting himself up for failure. You know, these lazy habits promote lazy entrepreneurship. You know, he's telling this kid to be lazy. In so many words, that's what he's saying. Be lazy. And you guys know, my motto, man. If you guys are in a free Facebook group, shameless plug, getting that below, I'm forever jumping on your guys' cases. Like, yo, stop being lazy. Do your product research. Start listing products. Do what you need to do in order to be successful. And it blows my mind that he's telling someone to be lazy when he's the king of hustle. He is the king of hustle. Like, whenever you see Gary Vee, Rick Ross hustling should go off in your mind. Every time I see Gary Vee, that's what I think. I think of Rick Ross over there, you know, fat, not skinny Rick Ross, fat Rick Ross, you know, big belly and all. Oh, that type of Rick Ross. Every time I see Gary Vee, that's what I think of. I think of Mr. Hustling Rick Ross. I don't think of, you know, slim, lazy Rick Ross after he got rich and ate pineapples all day, you know, or no, pears. I think it was pears. But yeah, like, I'm not thinking of that. He's telling this kid to be lazy. Like, you got to hustle to be an entrepreneur. You can't be lazy and be an entrepreneur. What type of crap is that? You know, and the fact that this kid is only 17 and he's like, oh, you know, just do what you want to do. Like, that could alienate your parents. You know, your parents are really all that you're going to have. If your friends could raise you, believe me, your friends, you'd be staying with your friends and chilling and partying. You know, your parents are going to be your safety net, guys. Like, in a lot of cases, they're going to be the ones that'll co-sign for a car. Look at Hayden Bowles. His dad co-signed for his M4. Like, if he had alienated his parents, that would have never happened. Tanner Plains, his dad co-signed for his Porsche, for the Cayman. If he had alienated his dad, that would have never happened. You know, so you guys have to look at things not as they are now, but what they could be in the future. And if you're fixated on the here and now and not projecting yourself out to see what could be, you are dead wrong. I mean, this kid could lose everything and then have nothing to show for it besides a Shopify store that made a couple $100s for a few months. You know, same thing, drop shipping. And that's to go with the whole drop shipping thing, man. Drop shipping cell phones on Shopify is like the lowest barrier to entry. It is. It really is. It's the lowest barrier to entry. Just about anyone can do it. Now, not everyone can do it effectively, but anyone can make a few $100s. You know, drop shipping stuff on Shopify, as long as you have the right tools. Now, granted, scaling up and doing massive numbers is very difficult, but like, come on. You know, this kid thinks like he's found the holy grail right now because he's making a few $100s and doesn't have to go to work. Like, all right, cool. You don't have to go to work. You're making a few $100s. That's nice. But there's so much more to entrepreneurship than a Shopify store. I guarantee this kid doesn't even have an LLC. Knows nothing about like actual business. And I mean, he's going to get there. You know, he'll get there. You guys aren't going to know everything about business. You know, when you first start, I didn't. Neither did Dan. This kid doesn't know, but he's going to get there. But it takes time, all right? It takes time and effort, and you literally just cannot sit there and think that Shopify is the end game and you're going to be like the richest dude on the planet because of it, you know? And that's just basically setting yourself up for failure right out the gate. And, you know, let's talk about this real advice. You know, now that we on this slide, the real advice, the advice that, you know, someone who's been there and done that, because I've been there and done that. You know, I was an idiot, didn't listen to my parents and all that. I got kids out of it. I was in massive crushing debt when I was younger. You know, my credit score was so freaking low. I couldn't get anything. You know, all because I listened to advice like this, where they were like, oh, just do what you want to do. You know, if you have a goal on being an entrepreneur, focus on that. But I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. You know, this kid doesn't know how to be an entrepreneur. That's something that you kind of grow and develop into, you know, and having a Shopify store isn't going to do that. You know, like, you should have a backup plan. And it didn't sound like this kid had a backup plan. It just sounded like he wanted to drop out of high school and pursue his goals of entrepreneurship and all that. And he thinks that it's so easy. It is not easy, guys. Like, doing what Hayden and Tanner Plains and Sebastian and Jet Set Fly and all these other young cats, doing what they did is hard, okay? Their hustle is undeniable. Now, granted, like, a lot of the stuff that they do, you know, is more popularity based at this point, you know, but their hustle is undeniable. All right. I can't take that away from them ever, you know. So if they see this video, I have to tip my hat to you guys, because that hustle to get to where you guys are at, to build your personal brands, yo, that's crazy. That's insane. You guys did something that 99.9% of the people in the world would never be able to do and would never want to do. Plain and simple. This kid, he doesn't even have a backup plan. Like, he's not even considering college. He's not considering any of that stuff. Like, there's no ripcord. This dude is literally jumping out of a plane without a parachute, head first, with a stick of dynamite strapped to his head and a whole handful of matches. You know, like, what? Come on, bro. You got to be smarter than that. You know, and he's not seeing a big picture. He's just so focused on this entrepreneurial journey. You know, you guys know I'm from the South, man. So some things I can't say correctly. All right. So just bear with me. But this dude just doesn't see the big picture right now. And it's mainly because he doesn't have the life experience and he's young. And that's not to say that youth is bad. That's just to say that he doesn't necessarily have the experience yet. Okay. And a lot of these young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, they don't have that life, that foresight yet. You know, they don't have the experience. They haven't been there. All right. They're getting there, but they have not been there. You know, no one's really ever tested them before. Okay. They've never really had to endure hardship because they come from pretty wealthy families or pretty well-off families. You know, they've been able to build these brands. They have money, you know, they can kind of sit back and chill. You know, they've never been truly tested. Life has not tested them in ways that, you know, you and I have been tested in. You know, they've never had to go to bed hungry. You know what that feels like, where you have to go to sleep because you're so hungry? You're like, yo, I got to go to bed because, like, there's nothing for you to eat. You know, you guys are out there making, you know, cheese bread, right? You know, you guys can't even make grilled cheese because there's no butter. You guys are literally putting crafts, not even gonna craft singles. Y'all putting the cheap Piggly Wiggly cheese on the bread and putting it in the microwave, drinking sugar water. Like, y'all ever had to do that? I guarantee they've never had to do that. Those kids never had to experience that, you know? So for Gary Vee to be telling this kid all this stuff, like, that dude doesn't see the big picture yet. He drops out of high school, he's gonna be living with like 13 roommates, having to eat cheese bread and all that, you know? And ultimately, you should do what's right for you. Don't, like, you guys can see us. You can see the cars, the GTRs, the TVs, and all this crazy stuff and the lifestyle that we live. And I mean, we're pretty humble. You know, we're modest people. You know, we don't live like crazy, extravagant lifestyles or any of that stuff. But, you know, there's certain things that we enjoy. Y'all have been keeping up on the Instagrams, link below. Y'all see the Evo coming together nicely, you know, seeing all the parts, all the money being spent. But that's because we worked hard and Amazon funds all that, you know, and that's what's right for us. Okay. And selling on Amazon is right for us. Coaching you guys is right for us. That's what we enjoy. We enjoy mentoring all you guys. That's what's right for us. What's right for us may not be right for him. Him dropping out of school may be right for him. He may get a lucky break. But I'm telling you right now, that stuff is hard. Okay, so you guys have to remember that. You got to take that into account. Do what's right for you, but don't be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Get effed up without getting effed up, as Wiz Khalifa would put it. And yo, bro, like, you only get so many carefree years. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, we're gonna close out on that thought. You only get so many carefree years. Okay, And I tell my son this all the time. You know, my son's 11 years old. You know, I had my son real young, man. I was one of them cases. Like, they should have put me on Teen Mom back in the day because I was so stupid. But, you know, high school is going to be the best time of a lot of people's lives, okay? And that's going to be the greatest 4 years ever. They're going to achieve everything that they're meant to achieve in those 4 years, and there's going to be nothing else. But for the rest of the world, rest of the population, it's going to be a stepping stone. It's going to be a carefree time for them to kind of discover their young selves. But anyway, man, guys, like you should enjoy it. You know, be free, enjoy your lives, enjoy, you know, high school, enjoy all that stuff. You guys are going to grow into little young adults and grow into the people that will kind of springboard you into adulthood. And you know, just sitting there and wasting that opportunity is kind of frivolous. It's kind of stupid. You know, not using it to set yourselves up for future success, you might as well just go ahead and kick yourself in the teeth. Because that's pretty much what you're doing. I mean, don't sit there and let things pass you by just because you think that a Shopify store is going to make you rich. All right, you should be preparing for the next stage in life. You should be setting yourselves up for success. You should be doing everything possible to make that happen. And if you guys aren't, then you're definitely wrong. You know, and I just want nothing but the best for you. Dan wants nothing but the best for you guys. And, you know, that's just it, you know, and that's why we disagree with Gary Vee. So if you guys got something to say about it, it is what it is. You know, this is kind of more of a rant, but hopefully, you know, you guys will take this to heart because this is something that's kind of like near and dear to me and you know, what we try to accomplish with you guys. You know, we want you guys to set you guys up for success. We want you guys to take every possible precaution to avoid failure. And, you know, dropping out of high school and just focusing on like a Shopify store is probably one of the stupidest things that you can do. And one of the dumbest things someone in a position of influence could ever tell somebody. And, you know, especially someone who didn't have to come from a struggle, who really, like, granted, you know, he hustled hard, he worked hard. VaynerMedia is what it is today because of him. But, you know, to tell someone to drop out of high school and all that stuff when he himself didn't even drop out of high school. Now, granted, he wasn't the greatest student, but he himself didn't even drop out of high school. You know, and he had a family business to fall back on. You know, this kid, you know, doesn't seem like he has that. You know, so that type of advice is kind of like, really? You know, that's messed up. Like, I'm not going to tell you guys to do something that I haven't done. You know, like, I'm never going to tell you to drop out of college because I didn't drop out of college. I'm going to tell you to just stick with it, grind it out, eat crap. You're going to be fine. But he's telling this kid to drop out of high school and he didn't. Come on. But at any rate, that's it, man. So make sure you guys check out the free Facebook group below. You guys already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good jazz. If you want to, of course, you know, there is no obligation. But if you don't, I'm going to have to find y'all. I'm just kidding. But at any rate, man, yo, that's it. Be safe, be smart. Don't make bad decisions like I did when I was young because you don't want to give up your dreams, you know, even for that brief time of fun. So I'm going to catch y'all. Peace out.